family, at 7:20, I'm on the air. It's your girl Lisa, the Baltimore Paparazzi, in the spotlight on Hard Body Radio. I wasn't sure I was going to have a show this week until this young man sitting across from me said, I'll do the show. I'm like, cool. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody listening, tuning in on live too on YouTube. I have the gentleman known as Wombatt55. Get your microphone there. He's eating his dinner right now, so yeah. Yeah. Put that around. There you go.
Okay. All right. There he is.
Yeah. So, I don't really like to call these interviews anymore. I started to when I first started the show, but as I've done a few of the shows each week, it's just become a conversation between two people. So just two friends sitting across from each other, just
chopping it up,
reminiscing about different things. I mean, I usually ask the same questions, considering that most of my guests have been and will continue to be, local underground artists who are in this hip hop music scene. And I usually ask the same kind of questions. How did you begin? When did you decide you want to do this? Da 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 da. And then we just go ahead and we end up talking about anything and everything that's just a conversation, and you end up learning a lot more about your guests during this conversation. So I don't know if he remembers the first time seeing me, meeting me. I don't remember the first time. I just remember 5 seasons. 5 seasons is where I practically just about met everybody. I mean, my first show was at the Turntable Club, but it seems like I've met everybody that I've in the scene at 5 seasons. So 5 seasons has been to me the home of hip hop in Baltimore City. So I'm going to ask you basically the same thing I usually ask. So when did you really get in? When did you get into hip hop or get into being? Because you're an artist, but you're a drummer. We're gonna get into all of this. We're just gonna get into everything. But I know you as an artist. I've seen you as an artist. So when did you get into music?
Well, it started a long time ago. Back in middle school, elementary school, where they didn't have a lot of different rap groups that was from here. Mm-hmm. And then they had the We-Rock crew. And they had the one song, My Name is Terry T, My Name is MC Terry. And that's my first name, Terry. So I was like, wow, that's a slick song. Has my name in it. They're from Baltimore. I'm with that. Mm-hmm. And it was on from that point. It was everything. I mean, it changed everything. It was a game changer. Because, when I was growing up, we were the type of kids, our parents would put the chair or the carriage on top of speakers. Mm-hmm. And it would just rock, and you go to sleep that way.
Right.
It was no turn the music down, the baby's trying to sleep, turn the music up, the baby will go to sleep.
Right.
So music's always been a big part of my life. But the whole hip-hop thing, it started at a very young age. I grew up down Lexington Terrace. So we used to go to school 10 Rec, which is James McHenry. And I had a cousin named Brian. Y'all might know Brooks. And there was a couple of people that was really older than us, but they were sort of like mentors or whatever. And there was a dude named Pumphrey. And he used to rap in the circle on Fayette Street, right there at the 900 block. And I used to go up there every day just to hear him spit rhymes. And it was just cool. You just see people doing it. And then you're like, I want to do that. And eventually I would write little freestyle rhymes or whatever. Then I write rhymes for other people. I'd take your name and put a rhyme for you. So you have something that you could spit.
So you was ghostwriting.
I was ghostwriting at an early age, yeah. And it was just cool. It was just something to do. Originally it started, so I used to go to church on Fayette Street, called the Church of God in Christ. And it originally started with, I used to have a knack for doing the thing where you take somebody's first letter of their name and go down the line and be like, T is for terrible, and T is for everything, and R is for amazing. You know what I mean? R is not for amazing, but R is for ready or whatever. Yeah. And I used to do that for different programs, kids programs. Every fifth Sunday was like Kids Day, so I just do it. I was really involved with that. It was cool, and it kind of spawned from that, like just knowing how to have a knack for words. And in school 10, elementary school, same school, school 10, I was in spelling bees and different little things. And in ninth grade, we went to It's Academic, you know. Like,
oh yeah, I remember that show. Well, it still comes on, but I remember growing up.
Yeah, so I was always like good with the numbers and good with the words or whatever. So it just, as I got older and older, hip hop grew. Because back then, hip hop had just started off. And it was like, turn that mess off, turn that noise down, turn this off. It's not the Platters, it's not the Temptations. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was whatever, but you had Run DMC, and then eventually came your Pete Rocks and CL Smooths, and then eventually it just became, you know what I mean? It grew, it just grew, and it just took off to a level that was just amazing. We wanted to be a part of that. We just wanted to have Al Say from Baltimore to be a part of what was going on.
Yeah, and you know, like I you know, because I tell everybody, I'm like one of the oldest people in the scene, like me and a couple others. I don't give anybody's ages out, but we're the same age. There's two other people that I know of that we're the same age.
Right.
So hip hop for me started with Sugar Hill Gang.
Okay. Yeah, I watched a documentary about that the other day on Netflix. It was hip hop, some dude that raps. I never heard of him before, but he went to New York and started interviewing all these rappers or whatever. And they were saying how the Sugar Hill Gang was actually a crew from New Jersey. And the one dude, Big Bank Hank, was from either the Bronx or Brooklyn or whatever, but he had got his rhymes from, I think it's MC Cash. I don't want to say it wrong, but he said, in that song, he said all the catchphrases and all the punchlines that he had heard from growing up in New York or whatever. So yeah, I mean, they were older than we are, but like I said, hip hop started off, for me, it started off as really sing-songy and really catchy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just exploded.
Yeah, because like you said, like me growing up, my parents were born in the 50s, so I had the influence of the 50s, 60s, and I was born 70.
Right.
So I had the 50s, 60s, and 70s always playing in the house. Rock and roll, country music. My mom sounded like Tammy Wynette when she sang.
Okay.
I listened to bluegrass because we're from the country, so bluegrass was part of that. So music for me was well-rounded. So when the whole hip-hop came along, this was something new and different, and everybody's like, when did you fall in love with hip-hop? I fell in love with hip-hop as soon as I heard it.
Right. The
moment I heard it, because it was something new, something different, and I think that's one reason why I'm so involved in the scene here. Because when I moved to Baltimore, I knew nothing about the music scene.
Where you from?
The Eastern Shore.
Oh, okay.
Queen Anne's County, like when you across the bridge.
Yeah.
But I live up in the country part, going up towards I'm 5 minutes from Delaware State Line, 20 minutes from Dover, Delaware.
Like Roll Beach type?
No, up.
Oh, okay.
Up.
Like really
up.
Like
up north. Instead of going 50, you go 301.
Like go that way.
Yeah, go that way. Just go up. But so music has always been like so much a part of me. And when, I became, like, I was the ringtone lady on Poplar Grove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was a ringtone lady in Poplar Grove before I even got in the scene. So I heard a couple of the kids, like one boy, his name is Ricky Mayfield. Yeah, I think it's what it is. Savage, Mon John Savage or whatever his name is now. But he would have me put his song as a ringtone on his phone.
Right.
And then all his friends was coming and getting his ringtone on their phone.
Right.
And then I met, Jay Rip and Slick Nick and Shay Black, and these were all kids that were rapping at the time.
Yeah.
Only thing I knew about the local scene was what I heard on the radio on 92Q.
Oh, okay.
So that was
hard to get music on.
So that was Hooli. That was Hooli Shalom, Scar Akbar, Mully Man, Boss Man, Comp.
Mm-hmm.
That was my I wasn't thinking about the whole other part of the scene where people.
What year was this? What year was this?
I moved here in 2003. I've been coming over here since
okay.
2000.
Okay.
I was dating somebody for about 3.5 years. Well, 3 years before I moved over here, and then the other half of the year. But I've been coming over here since 2000, and I knew, like I said, and then in 2006, July 2006, Bomb, he reached out to me on MySpace.
Yeah.
That's, remember, you can only have 4 songs.
Yeah.
Remember? And I liked all 4 of his songs. I really did. He was very different. To me, he was unique because he raps off beat, but always picks it back up. You know, so that's like his thing. So through him, I met Shaka Pitts because of his Blog Talk Radio show.
Okay.
Through Shaka's Blog Talk Radio show in 2007, I got to find out about Ogun. I had seen posters of Ogun.
You saw the stickers all over the place.
All over, down, yeah,
right.
all over.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is Ogun? What kind of name is Ogun? I didn't know. So through, you know, like that was my introduction. Yeah. And that's why I always pay respects to Bomb, to Shaka, you know, the people who have been there. Nick Soprano for giving me my Baltimore Paparazzi name. Like, I always give them their accolades. But the more I got into the scene, and it's changed over the years a lot.
Yeah.
A lot from when I started going to shows in 2008 into now. Like, I have watched it go up, I've watched it go back down, I watched it come back up, I watched it go down, I watched it kind of just like,
right.
you know, flatline, you know, to where it's like, okay, who's going to help boost this name? I was just at a show last night with Scar Akbar because, you know,
his album release.
Yeah, and it's his birthday today. Shout out Scar Akbar, happy birthday. And there's one guy he was featured on the set with Jay Royale, Ill Conscience.
Yeah.
I met him last year, I think, and blown away by him. And it's like every time I go to an event and I see somebody that I'm just like, oh wow, where have you been? And they're like, I've been rapping for years. I'm like, that shows you how big the scene is. Because like you and I, we don't cross paths that often.
Right.
You know, every once in a blue moon we'll cross paths. When Shania was having her open mic, you know, you would come down or whatever. But anyway, see, I told you I'd get rambling. But how did you find your way into what is the Baltimore hip hop scene? Like, or did you just
so we started the whole We Rock crew or whatever. So that was where it started, and eventually in about '88, I want to say I was 8th grade, and I had graduated from middle school and all did all the accolade stuff with that, with the TV and with the what's the show we was talking about on Channel 13? It's Academic. Did all that and was getting ready to go to Poly. So it was my night to go out and just celebrate graduating from middle school and get ready to go to high school. So I went down to Harbor, because that's where we went, to the Harbor. It was just
I've heard stories.
What you did. So we went down to Harbor, and there was this dude with like dreadlocks and a skateboard, Lab Tech 1. He was down there rapping, and I was like, God.
I just got chills when you said his name, for real.
I was like, God, there's a guy from here. Well, he's actually from another place, but he's repping here because he lives here and he was killing it. And he's local, like he's doing it. And I was like, man, like this dude. So they had a crew called CSD, Coptic Solomon Dynasty. It stood for a lot of different things, but it was Lab Tech's crew. And we were cool. We were like tight. I mean, shout out to Alco, shout out to Lab Tech 1, shout out to Pen Pals, Joey, Proface, shout out to all of them, the cast. So what we would do is, after that night, I wanted to relive that. Like, I would go down to Harbor just to see if they were still down there or whatever. Because I didn't really, you know what I mean? Like, back then I didn't know them. But that's 88. But then eventually I found out, like, where they were. And we'd hang out and we'd go out and do stuff or whatever. We formed a crew called The Firm. So there was a lot of different cats from the Pen Pals that just took me under their wing and was just like, yo, we could do this. We had a crew called The Firm. We had L&D. We had Verbally Ill. We had Vigor, we had Derek Kane, who's a great photographer now, but if you...
I've heard his name.
He's, back in the day, had bars. Like we were just like right there at the circle, between the two pavilions at midnight on Saturday nights. We meet up down there. We all go to Crazy John's, play video games for hours, wait till midnight, and we all just meet up at the circle. And it was the Firm versus the Testament. So the Testament is Frody, who else? Apple, Creme, Snow, and Pork Chop. So they had the thing on Thursdays where it was like in the summertime, jazzy nights or whatever. But they used to have it. It was at Hopkins Plaza, but at first it was over off of Fayette Street in a big circle over there. So we thought it was just maybe 5 of them because it was only 12 people in the firm in the beginning. Like it was just 12. Gab, the other names I named, L&D, Verbally Ill, Pen Pals, Derek Kane, me, and we went down there ready to battle the Testament. Because that was New Test. It was New Test versus the Firm. That's what we did. And they all showed up with these Skull t-shirts on. And it was Pork Chop, it was Frody, it was so, like they had got all of Woodlawn to just come down to that night with t-shirts on. And we were like, oh man, it's so many of them. But we still did the battle down the harbor. And we just go back and forth. They didn't want to take an L. We didn't want to take an L. And we would just battle. And then eventually it just became what we did on Saturday nights down the harbor. Leave Crazy John's and go straight down the harbor. And we do that for Saturday night and midnight down the harbor for ciphers. See,
and that's like, I think, and one reason why I do these shows is because I want people to understand where this all began.
Yeah, that was 93, 94. Actually, it was before 95 because we said the 9 nickel. I remember, you know what I mean? Like, it's been years, but we was like 9 nickel. Like, that was when we was really at the epitome of it. So, down the harbor, they had one cipher where DMX showed up. And we had the guy Black. They call him Black Talon. He's from L&D. Him and DMX had to battle for at least 3 hours. Verse for verse, back to back.
And this is way before DMX was.
This was when DMX would just show up in random circles or random. When 5 Seasons was on Charles Street.
Right. See, I missed out on Charles Street.
Right.
I missed out on Charles Street.
So I mean, it was just awesome, and I mean, our team, we was I mean, it was just that was what we did. It was so much fun, and so it was so cool. And it was at a time when, like I said, on Saturday nights we go down to the harbor, but on Friday nights we go down to Paradise in the back room. DJ Boo Man and stuff like that. Be back there playing hip hop. We meet up at the Redwood Grill, and they had Larry Stewart's across the street. I mean, it was different spots down in that area where you could just go downtown, because after 6 o'clock parking is free.
Right.
So you park in the spot and you just walk from, like I said, Crazy John's to Redwood Grill to, I mean, it was just down the harbor, just backpacking. And it was a cool little scene, 94, 95. And then it was a female who was in the audience that seen the ciphers. And then a couple of months later, Nas, AZ, and Foxy Brown had a crew called The Firm. And they're produced by Dr. Dre. And I'm like, God! Because the name was, we never thought copyright or do anything like that. I mean, we had different albums that was out. Derek King's tape came out under Firm Records, and also this guy named Gabo. Shout out to Gab. He had The Gift of Gab, and he had a verse that he had wrote to Nas's Halftime. He listened to Halftime like every day. Every time he seen Gab, he was like, do. He was listening to it. He just wrote, and he wrote, I can't even think of the name of the song. He probably would be mad if I can't remember, but he wrote that song to that beat, and he killed it. And it's only right. It's only right that I was born to use mics. That was the hook. He used that, and it was just like I said. We had a great little clip, but they had the name, so we didn't want no confusion. So we kind of ventured off and called ourselves the Way Outs, and it was supposed to be like many ways in, but only one way out. Yeah, it was like the Way Outs, and we go to, like I said, all the little open mics or whatever. And when we walked in, they knew, like, it was on. And I guess the thing that kind of killed it was there was other crews. We had parties down at Club Indigo, or there's a spot on Baltimore and I want to say Utah. It was called the Bank. I don't know what it's called now.
It went from the Bank to, is it right across from the Hippodrome?
Yes.
It used to be called the Bank, it was called the Vault, then it was called Bedrock.
Yeah.
And now it's called Mirage.
I have no clue.
It's like a club.
I don't even go downtown because there's no parking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't party downtown. If you have a party downtown and there's no parking, I'm not going to be there. I'd rather party out Randallstown where I can just pull up to Sister's Place and just park out front, go in the club, come out,
right,
drive home. But, yeah, so, I mean, we rent out parties there at the Bank and at Indigo. And that's where I met Shaka Pitts. They used to have a crew called the Wicked Head Knockers.
Wow.
And Shaka Pitts, Jamie, I don't know, Jamie's name was, I can't remember his rap name, but I mean, I've known him so long, some of them I know their real names.
Yeah.
And Justin. And they were dope. Like, they were like Baltimore's version of Wu-Tang, like, for real. Like, they were dope, yo. They were super dope. And I was like, man, like, to have all these little dudes. And I mean, there was female groups, what was the name? Jolly, you know what I'm talking about? Golden Seal.
Okay, I know that name.
Man, I remember, like, they were just, I mean, it was just, and also, Ogun, they had a group, they were called Rites of Passage, R.O.P.
Yeah, because he's talked about that before.
Yeah.
Rites of Passage, and then it became Real on Purpose.
Yeah, and it was R.O.P. And that's how I met Ooh, because Ooh was with them, and then I went up copping, and you know, like, I was like, all right, it's time to go to school. Went up copping, and Ooh walked up to me. I shook his hand. I didn't know who he was. And he was like, I remember you from down the Cypress. And I was like, so, I mean, it was just cool. And then I found out we had the same last name. So we became really tight. Like,
right.
That was just like my brother. You know what I mean? Like, he had his clique and he had Vertex in him. And I had called him one day. And this is like chronological. I'm not in any order, but
right.
I'm just having memories right now. So I called him and I was like, yo, I want to do an album. And this was like 2010 or whatever. And he was like, call Vertex, which is Ooh's new DJ. And Vertex did my whole album. And I mean, every song we did came out tight. Before that, let me go back, I'm sorry. Before that, back when we were the firm, the Way Outs, we strictly dealt with J Funk.
Yeah.
J Funk's house in the Village had this door. And on that door, you signed your name. You signed your name. And if you looked at the door, there was Pork Chop's name and Frody's name or whatever. We put scratches through their names or crossing bones. Like, we were just trying to antagonize them, but it never really went anywhere. It was not a real beef or whatever.
It just, just kept it strictly just cipher beef.
Ken Mack used to record with J Funk a lot back then. I mean, like, a lot of the people that's doing it right now, that's really doing it, that's been doing it for years, these dudes know the history. Like, they know where it started. They know Funky Ad Productions is J Funk. They know where, they remember the spot up on the avenue, up on, in the Village, in the basement. They remember the door. And his father, J Funk's father, was a drummer for Teddy Pendergrass. So there was a drum set in the corner. And every time we go up there, I'll be staring at the drum set like, I know how to play. They're like, nah, man, you rap, but you ain't no drummer. And one day we was just up there kicking it, and Jay was like, man, get on. And I got on. He was like, oh, you really do know how to play, because I learned how to play the drums. This is a sad story, happy story. It's like a happy sad, like Jahidi said, a happy sad. And when I was 6 years old, we had a Christmas program. And we were singing Go Tell It on the Mountain. We were singing Jingle Bells, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. All the songs where you scream, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and all that stuff. And the music teacher, she hated my singing. Like, she was like, this guy, like, he's horrible.
But you're a little kid.
But even then, she realized that there was no singing that should come from this guy. So she said, I got something special for you. This next song we're going to do, it's called Little Drummer Boy. And all you got to do is stand at the edge of the stage where everybody's standing behind you singing and play the drum. And it was a bongo, and all I had to do was doom, doom, doom,
yeah,
doom, 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 everybody stood up and they was like, oh my God. And you couldn't tell me at 6 years old that wasn't my applause. Like that was my standing ovation.
That you was in the front.
Right.
You was on the ground.
They back there on my face. So it was like, yeah, like this guy really killed it. And then it was just crazy. Frody, who was in the Testament, we became really tight. And one day we were sitting around chilling, and he was like, "You got kids." This was recently, not recently, but in a couple of years ago. Yeah, you got kids. And he's like, if you went to a concert and your kids was there, not clap. And I was like, yeah, I clap if my kids was there. He's like, exactly. That clap wasn't for you. It was all the parents in the audience clapping for their kids. And
so he was trying to bust your bubble for all these years.
I was like, you know what? You might have a point, because before that even conversation, you couldn't tell me that applause
was not for you.
Yeah, and it sparked something that made me just want to be on stage performing, whether it's playing drums or rhyming. It's that energy that you get when you interact with the crowd. The drumming thing is different. Rhyming, when you rhyme, you get a response from the crowd. Like you see them rock with you. When you playing the drums, you get that bounce. Like you know what I mean? Like how you hit your boom boom boom. You see them dancing and you're doing that. Like it's all you. So yeah, so that's where all that love came from. That 6-year-old little guy who couldn't sing.
That's you're right. That's a sad, happy story.
Right.
How is a grown lady gonna say, "Oh, you're tired"? You said that you're 6 years old.
Sorry, kid. Listen, I mean, jingle bells is not your thing. Don't sing. Do not sing. Just wait.
I had a bad experience on a Christmas play. So yeah, like I remember. The only reason why I remember is because it was the year my grandfather passed away. He passed away 6 days after my 7th birthday.
Okay. And
so we were practicing for this Christmas play. We ended up, it wasn't in the play because I had to go to North Carolina for the funeral. But I remember because I had to dial, in order to call Santa Claus, I had to dial Christmas.
Right.
They told me to spell out Christmas. Rotary dial. And I'm trying to figure it out. I'm in like, 2nd grade? So I'm trying to figure out how to spell Christmas instead of just giving me the daggone phone number.
Right.
So my teacher was kind of mad because I needed to speed it up. But yeah, that's my little sad story about it.
Happy sad.
My happy sad. Because I was glad I didn't have to do that damn play. But yeah, you mentioned like a lot of people that I don't think, especially the kids now. I call them kids because I'm so much older than them.
Right.
But a lot of it, they don't know the history, and I keep wanting, like, I want somebody to document the history, and I think that's why I take pictures like I do.
Right. Because pictures do tell a story.
You know what I mean? Like, I've got pictures, like, people are like, oh my God, Apex a genius. You got pictures of me since I was 17 years old.
Right.
Like, what? Wow. Like, I got pictures of Apex in the Turntable Club at the age of 17. He wasn't supposed to be
right.
There. But he was there on the mic and everything. And I got pictures, pictures of people that are no longer here.
Yeah.
Ooh. My last interaction with that I can remember, my real interaction was when I had my in the spotlight showcases at 5 Seasons, and I got hit up by Changa.
Right.
I had no idea who he was. He Love Peace Project everybody was in the same place at the same time. They wanted to do this little thing. So I was like, sure, y'all can jump on. Well, then he hits up Jahidi and says, oh yeah, we got a show. And then, like, it was jam-packed. My whole lineup was jam-packed. People were getting upset because the bands were taking so much longer.
Right.
And, but it turned out to be one of the most fantastic shows I've ever had. And my memory, I have so many memories of
Right.
But my one big memory is I was out in the front, and I heard him calling me. He was on stage because he said, Lisa, he was like, look, I gotta pay the band. I was like, well, he was like, look, let us keep the money. He said, who you got hosting? I said, I don't know yet. He was like, look, let's do this. I'll host. You just let me keep the ticket money sales so I can pay the band, and we'll call it even. I was like, that would be perfect. Thank you so much. So he's up on stage and he's hosting or whatever, and I hear him call me, where's Lisa at? Yo, where's Lisa? I was like, so I'm walking up. He was like, come here. And he was saying all this stuff about me, you know, before I got up there. And I get on stage, he goes, didn't know she was white, did you? I was like, oh, really? Come on, yo. Because he was like, this sister right here, this sister right here. And then I get up here, he's like, didn't know she was white, did you? And I was like, oh my God, ooh. But he was one of those, he will continue to be one of those people that he's like Kia says, you know, he's still here.
Right.
He's in everybody. Anybody that he touched, he's still here.
Well, the thing about him was he could spot raw talent.
Mm-hmm.
And with somebody had said this before, like he would make somebody seem like they were the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Can you curse or no?
Yeah, it's internet.
Okay, so like he would make somebody seem like they the shit. Like he was like, y'all don't know who Very Fine Juice is. You know what I mean? Like, y'all ain't know that. And then you feel stupid because you're like, I don't know who Very Fine Juice is. And he's like, well, y'all better find out. And then once you know what I mean, after that, every time you saw the juice, you'd be like, oh, I remember that juice. That's the juice he was talking about. Because he would say, okay, so this is another happy saying. I got a whole bunch of happy sayings.
Me too.
So all right, so there was the guy Evan and Nyla, who was Frody's sister. She sings. I don't know if you know who she is, but you can Google Nyla. Her CD is banging, and they was starting to do these live shows. So it was like me and Tahiti get ready to start doing these hair care shows for Malika. And he was like, I need a drummer to go to North Carolina and do different things with me. So he put together me, Quentin Randall, and Ramadan. And we were called Seaweed.
Oh my goodness.
So with that was popping at the same time as the Nyla thing. So Nyla and Evan, they had a group. And they were called the Funkaholics or something like that. They got the other guy named Seaweed, Devin, to be their drummer. And he rocks with different people now, but he's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen him. I think it was at a Crown Award.
Yeah.
I think he was on the drums. I think he was drumming at one of the 5 seasons.
And then I was leaving practice with them one day, and in walks Jay Funk. And I'm like, it was just like the whole time, like it was like certain people, and even like now, I could call those dudes up and get kind of like clues or different patterns to use for drumming. Benzel Cohen, Benny, who's the drummer for P-Funk, he's from here, and they're all awesome drummers. Spider.
Yeah, he is awesome.
My little brother Dante. I mean, there's different drummers that's from this area. The little dude Devin Webster, he's from here. He went to the church I went to, and my earlier years. Like I know talent, and I mean it's all from this area. There's a guy, and this is not hip hop related, but there's a guy named Mark Copeland, and I don't want to really put him out there like that, but he's awesome. When we were in high school, I went to Poly. He went to School for the Arts. After he graduated, he went to Berkeley, which is the music school in Boston. He's a professor up there. And he also plays the keyboard. He played for Brian McKnight. You know what I mean? Like, and then I went to high school. There's a gospel singer named Jonathan Nelson. We were in 9th grade together. We sat right across from each other. We shared lunch and Snickers and Butter Crunch cookies. You know what I mean? Like, it's like so many different people that have so many different talents, and I've had an opportunity to draw from these people different qualities of what I want to present myself as an artist, as a person, and as a man.
You know, and you touched on something. There's a lot of talent in this city.
Yeah.
It is like I said, coming in, like when I come into the scene, it wasn't that my cousin or my brother, my sister, or my aunt, uncle, or whoever was a part of the scene. So I'm coming in an outsider.
Right.
So when I step foot in there, it's like when you the first time you've ever been to like a Crown Award. Like for me, like you walk in and there's all these people here, and that's a poet, graphic designer, they're hip hop artists. That's a band that they do this, they do that, and you're looking at all these people, and there's so much talent in the city. No matter, it's just to me it contradicts what the news portrays Baltimore as being.
But that's always been the case.
Yeah.
Like, even when Marty Bass says it's going to snow, it rains. You know what I mean? Like, the news is never 100% correct. Like, you may, they may think they have an idea. That's what I like about Baltimore. Like, I worked a real job, and for a while I worked in Bladensburg, and they were like giving me a lot of slack because everybody down past 695, 295 is all Redskins fans. Or if they're not Redskins fans, they're Cowboys fans. So they're like, oh, you're not a Redskins fan, you must be a Cowboys fan. I'm like, no, I'm a Ravens fan. They're like, where you from? Like, I'm from Baltimore. Like, oh, Baltimore. And then we won the Super Bowl that year. So it's like, what?
What was you saying? What was that? What was that?
But it's like, I noticed, like, Baltimore, we get enjoyment for being Baltimore. Like, if you notice any type of artist or any type of celebrity that's even been to this area or frequented this area, they have a certain oomph about it where it's like Cisco dancing around in pajamas singing thong songs and stuff like that. Like, nobody else would be able to pull that off with somebody from Baltimore because we have that. I don't care how you feel about what I'm doing. I'm from Baltimore, and I don't give two shits whether you like it or not. I'm going to give my all. I'm going to do what I do, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, kiss my butt.
See, and that's the kind of attitude that I need some of these artists in this hip hop scene to do, because I'm tired. Like we talked about it on the way here about you liking people who are being themselves, being true to themselves.
Authenticity, yeah.
And a lot of these cats, what they're doing is they're trying to emulate what they hear on the radio because they think that's what's going to get them somewhere. And times have changed when it comes to this industry. Like I told a story like last week, week before. I don't know. My shows run together. But I have a nephew. I call him my nephew. But it's my nephew. And only thing, it was a few years ago. He was like 16, 17. Can rap his ass off.
Right.
Doesn't write nothing down.
Damn.
But he can rap his ass off.
Yeah.
And he told me, I want to get a deal. I said, you want to get a deal? I think I need a piece of gum. I get this dry spot in my throat from my allergies. But he was like, I want to get a deal. I said, you want to get a deal? What kind of deal do you want? Man, I just want to get it because he didn't know the business. I said, this is the times have changed from where before, like Soulja Boy getting a deal off of MySpace.
Right.
Now you can do. I'm looking at strange music and how strange music. I'm really studying strange music. I just watched a interview with Travis, who is the CEO.
Right.
And my whole, like I've said this for the past couple of years, I just want to go and be an intern. I just want to learn as much as I can from this man because they did it independently. And now it's much easier with the internet and having the access to be able to do it. Whereas back 2008, I'll say, 2006, between 2006 and 2008, when I first got into all this, it was hard, like, the deals that they were given then, like, there's no need for them now. I mean, the only thing that them giving you that money is that money goes to, you got to record your shit, and you're going to have to pay them that shit back. So that means you're going to be on stage 360 days. They might give you 5 days off. Yeah. So a lot of these kids are trying to emulate what they see or hear on the radio. But my thing is, be unique. And be different.
Well, it's the same dream that's being sold though, because it's like you figure a lot of the kids, they think that, well, when I was growing up, the options was either become an entertainer or become a basketball star or whatever. And if you really look at how they pick or choose who's going to be the next LeBron James or the next Jay-Z or whatever, it's never what you think it is. Like you got to work 10 times harder than those guys in order to get even notarized. Like, because from Baltimore, I mean, we have a really bad stigma. Like, we're right in the middle of everything. We used to call it the Middle East. And then it started becoming like really like the Middle East. It was like so we was just like we'll leave that one alone.
Right.
But I was told by a couple of people in different labels or whatever, if you create big enough buzz, they'll come look for you.
Right.
They didn't like your Justin Bieber. He may have started on the internet, the YouTube views or whatever, but it was so good and it was so different at the time or whatever that Usher or whoever was his mentors at the time, they went to find where he was.
Right.
Because he put out something that you could look at and physically say, this is not like anything else.
Right.
But that all comes from being true to yourself. You have to first figure out what you're good at or what your strengths are and dwell off of that. People try to look at somebody else and say, okay, this guy is good and he's making a lot of money. I want to do what he's doing. I never thought like that. I never figured that I would make a name or make a statement emulating somebody else. You don't. Because if everybody's wearing orange and you wear orange, you're just another face in the crowd. Right. Everybody's wearing orange, you got on green, guess what? You're going to spot it.
Right.
Automatically. So just, like you say, walk to the beat of a different drummer. And that's been my logo for like years. Not my logo, my slogan, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because I pay attention to people. And like when I first came in the scene, I paid attention to people because I didn't know anybody.
Right.
And like, even to this day, like I'm a supporter of the scene as a whole.
Right.
I want the scene. I want 92Q to at least put a show at least once a week, right now, like at the beginning, that puts the spotlight on local talent.
Yeah.
You know that because when I first got into the whole scene or whatever, to the music or whatever of the local underground, and I would be playing it when the kids would come and knock on my door for ringtones. And they'd be like, I was like, y'all need to start listening to the local people. And they were like, who? You talking about Boss Man, Molly Man?
Right.
They're whack. And I was like, there's so much more than what you hear on the radio.
Right.
Because they had no idea that, just like I didn't have no idea that there was a scene or whatever, an underground scene. So it's just, my whole thing is trying to bring it even more to the light, each year.
But this is the key to doing that. You say you want 92Q to play once a week. I would be happy if they did it for an hour once a month. Like I would, because you had to take baby steps.
Right.
Because like we went, like my wife, her family is from North Carolina. Her mother and her mother's sisters and brothers. And when you go down south or whatever, you listen to the radio station. You're like, who is that?
Right.
And they actually play local artists from 10 to like midnight or whatever. Only time you can hear a local artist here is 88.9. Like.
Or if Pork Chop and Squirrel play a little tidbit, they like Lil Tay's been on there with the iPhone boom, which my grandson loves that song, so dance to it. But and that was my thing. Like I was supposed to intern for them to write a blog about the local scene. Well, just as I was getting that under my belt, as far as getting that position, I got a real job.
Right.
So I wasn't going to any shows. I was at a real job.
Right. So
they kind of like pushed me out of the way. And I don't know if that was the devil or God. I don't know. It was probably both of them.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to that was my next step into doing what I do for the scene. Like me taking pictures, it's become, like we were talking about, being different.
Right.
I don't compare myself to any other photographers.
Right.
Because what I do, they don't do. None of the other photographers in this scene go to a show and take a picture of the first artist to the last artist.
Right.
Pit fights. Just had pit fights last weekend.
Yeah.
I took over 1,400 pictures. And guess how many pictures got posted? 1,400. All of them got posted. I just took, how many did I take? 800? 840 at the show last night.
Right.
They should be done watermarking now. But all of those, except for, I think I may have deleted one or two, they're all getting posted. Because anybody else, they post a couple here and a couple there. No, I took all those pictures of these artists doing what they love on stage. So that's why, like, I'm unique in that way. And another thing is, like, everybody, when I first started doing it, they were like, who's this white lady with a camera?
Right.
Is she the police? Is that why she's taking all these pictures? You know, I mean, but I wanted to be different, and I've never conformed. I've never, like I walk to a beat of a different drum as well, you know, because I think it has something to do with Sagittarius. I really do.
Yeah, it does.
I really do, because we don't really do what everybody else does.
Why? You're going to get... Okay, so here's another story. So, back in middle school, once again, this is all the origins or whatever of Wombatt. I was really, like I said, good in school. And back then you had a test to get into higher schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I put Poly, City, Maryville. And I got accepted into all three. So I get home and I asked my uncle, I said, listen, I got accepted into these three schools. And everybody from around the way is going to Maryville. It's like, I don't want to go to Southwestern. Because in Southwestern, people are getting shot, killed, and beat up for Jordans or whatever. And I didn't want that. So I was like, which I wish I would have did. Because if I went to Southwestern, I would have been there, valedictorian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd probably be in like certainly. But
You'd be a professor.
Yeah, I'd be like,
in the Ivy League.
Yeah, just be the man, like, smartest kid from West Baltimore. But he told me, he said, you can go where all your friends are going and get what they get, or you can go where you want to go and get what you're supposed to get. And at the time, I only knew 3 people at Poly. Honestly, I didn't know anybody up there. I walked in the door. They used to have this thing they used to call freshman's meetings, and I walked in the door and I saw this one dude that I knew from around the way. And I was like, hey, what's up? And he was like, listen, dog, don't walk up to me like that. When I'm with my homeboys. And like, you can speak to me, it's cool. But when I'm with my peoples, don't just walk up on me like that. You're a freshman and you haven't earned that right yet. And I'm like, yo.
It's almost like a fraternity.
And I'm like, come on, man. So then we all banded together. And our class, class 92, said, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get our respect. Because this is when they started letting kids from everywhere come. We had people from over east. We had people from Cherry Hill. We had people from Dundalk. We had people from, like, if you was smart enough to get into Poly, and they only had one rule: don't fail more than 2 classes. So what I do is, I get 2 classes that I failed, and I bring them up, and fail 2 more and go to summer school, because you couldn't fail more than 2 classes. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I got this. I'll pass these. I'll pass English and science, and I'll go to summer school for math and calculus or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like I mean calculus and maybe chemistry or something like that, or Spanish or something stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't worrying about that. I'll just go and take care of that. But yeah, it was. And in the 10th grade, they had, when I first got up Poly, they had it was O, like the class is O, and the next year is M, and it's N, and then it's K for the senior year. But when I was in O, I was in 06. So there's 6 classes of people. It's like 35 people in each class. When we were in M class, we were M10. They put all the class clowns in the same class and hope and pray that we laugh and joke and kick each other out based off of grades. And the one guy in our class, Milton, he said, listen, you know what they did? They put us all in the same class to destroy each other. So instead of destroying each other, we're going to build each other up. And from that day forth, my man Milton, shout out to him, putting together the Poly tailgate and stuff like that. We stuck together. We made sure that each other was cool. We go hang out over Sean's house and stuff like. I mean, it was just like we saw what they were trying to do. The whole idea was put everybody who's a jokester, put everybody who's a comedian, put everybody want to be funny and not serious about their education, put them all in the same class, and then laugh and ha ha hee hee their way straight back to their zone school. We picked up on it the second day of school. And we all, like, that year, I didn't even have to go to summer school that year.
It was like, all right, who gets the last laugh on this one, right?
We figured it out. It figured out early, and I mean, a lot of people like, well, why people rep poly and city or whatever, and they're grown ass men or grown ass women? Because those years were the years before then. You had your round the way education. And like I said, I grew up down Lexington Terrace, so I grew up the 1000 block of Fayette Street. Then we moved down the street to the new houses on Fremont, which was across the street from the projects, and Poplar Place apartments, or Poplar Place townhouses or whatever. And we grew up down there, and down there, there was the projects of Lexington Terrace. Just like, hey, you get what you get down there. So you had that learning, but then you go to a school like Poly where you had people who, like I said, came from Loch Raven area, people who came from Woodlawn, or people who came from Randallstown and Park Heights and different areas, and you saw that instead of hating or not liking these people, because before it was the intention that you hated people that wasn't from your neighborhood.
Right.
Like we had gotten into it down Lexington Terrace with Emerson Avenue so many times, or Cherry Hill so many times, and even though we were beefing with them or not getting along with those neighborhoods, we had cousins and aunts,
that lived in
uncles that lived in those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
We had a house party when we were really young, 14, 15. And that Onyx song came on. Throw your guns in the air. And but like you just don't care. And we ain't there freaking on the girls or whatever. And we look over the corner. All the dudes from Cherry Hill had guns in the air. And we're like, oh shit! Like, and it wasn't that anybody had got killed or anybody had got shot or whatever, or that anybody died in that situation. But it just kind of struck you like, that's how real, like, because at any point, somebody could have let off.
Yeah.
And that could have been the end of your story right there. So you learn as you get older or whatever, you learn what's important to really focus on and what's important to dwell on and what's more important to try to achieve. And I think that every path that I took, I'm thankful and grateful that I took the road less traveled, because if I would have followed the majority, then I probably would have fell off a long time ago. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that I've learned, and a lot of stuff that I've became or done in life has come from me just being happy with myself and happy with waking up in the morning, just being me, being the best me, the better version of today than I was yesterday. So that's put me in a good spot.
And it was funny is when you were talking about going to Poly, I had made mention to a friend of mine. She went to Western.
Right.
And
love.
Yeah. So when she brought me into her circle of friends, they all, like majority of them went to Western, and I'm seeing this bond that they have.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was just awesome to me, because I like my school, like when I went to high school, the whole county went to the one high school.
Right.
We all went to the one high school. Now there's 2 high schools in there, but we all went to, and it was like we were separated because we lived in the northern part, which was considered like the farm country.
Right.
And then the lower part was Kent Island and all like that.
Yeah.
So Kent Island didn't like us and we didn't like them. But when we went to high school, we were all thrown together. It was nothing like here in Baltimore. Like my friends from over there can't understand why I live here.
Right.
I like living here.
Yeah,
it's so much. There's so much here. Like I don't go into the tourist. I don't go downtown. I hate going downtown.
Parking. I don't go anywhere I can't park. If I can't park my car.
And I don't ride the bus anymore. Like I freaked out on the bus a couple times, but I can't ride the bus anymore. Like that's just something I can't do. But the convenience of everything in this city. If my car's broke down, if I really had to, I could get on the bus. I could call a hack. I could.
You don't have to call hacks.
Yeah, well, hey, let me tell you, first time I seen that, what the fuck are they doing, y'all?
Yeah.
But I'll call a sedan or, something like that. If I want to eat, if I'm hungry and it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I call Stoko's. Actually, I can walk around to Stoko's because I live around the corner from Stoko's. Because their asses don't close until 4 o'clock in the morning.
The liquor store don't close till 2.
Yeah.
And then open back up at 5:30.
Right. So there's so much convenience. There's so much convenience here, and that's what I'm trying to get them to understand. And for me, I like the feeling, like, I've got this thing about vibes, like, the house that I live in.
Right.
Everybody's like, oh my God, Lisa, it's a nice house. No, it's got bad juju. It's got bad vibes.
Right.
Like, ever since I've been in this house, I've been in the house for a year now. I wanted to move out the second week I was there, but I couldn't because of contract. But I'm a vibe person.
But you can change the vibe. You know that, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm moving, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, before you leave, change the vibe.
You know, so I'm this vibe person. I get vibes off of people all the time. I just told Shania when I seen her on Sunday that I love her energy.
Yeah.
Like when I'm around her, her energy, regardless of what she's going through, her energy is so strong.
Yeah.
And like I get that from a lot of people. So when I go to these shows, like I suffer from depression, so I've been very depressed. Like Thanksgiving, didn't have Thanksgiving, didn't celebrate my birthday, not celebrating Christmas. Like I'm blah.
Well, I celebrate Thanksgiving, your birthday, and Christmas right now.
Well, I mean, we do got food, we do got drinks,
Woo!
right? So yeah, but when I go out to these events,
Yeah.
like last night, I seen Yuck. Yuck's been locked down for like, I think he said 48 months.
Right.
And I've only seen him one time since then. That was at the Crown. I seen him last night, and I hugged him so much and so long that my friend was there, and I got a, oh, you hugging everybody text message, okay? I was like, that's Yuck. Like, I love Yuck. Me, like, I was there for him when Brandy passed away, when she gave birth to their daughter. Like, I was part of the whole benefit show, and I was talking to him, like, afterwards, like, we were communicating, like, he's my friend.
Right.
I was asking his sister how he was doing when he was locked up. Like, he's my friend. So when I see him, I love you. That's my thing now. Like, telling people, I lost my husband in 2005.
Okay.
From that point on, I realized you could be gone
Yeah.
in a blink of an eye. I've always known this, but that was my turning moment. Like, watching my husband die was my turning moment. So now, like, my ex-boyfriend that I moved to Baltimore for,
Right.
he married somebody 8 months later after I moved here.
Right.
He used to tell me all the time, why you say I love you too much? I don't think you could ever tell somebody that you love them too
Right.
much.
So you never know when's going to be the last time that you actually get a chance to tell them that how you really feel.
Right,
about
and then like when we lost Ooh,
Right.
that was an eye opener for a lot of people. You know, the next thing I know, like everybody, like, and to this day still, you know, I love you,
Right.
and I love you too, because you never know. So, like everything, like the vibes and everything that I get are very, very, they help me. So when I went to the show last night, I seen Yuck, I seen Taylor G, I seen Easy Jackson. Easy was the very first, like, when I pulled up, Rebel and Savage from Team Cream were standing outside, and Rebel is my son. I called him my son.
Right.
So I was there, and some guy came looking for Easy Jackson, and by the time I turned this way and I turned back, and Easy was standing there, I was like, Easy. He said, Lisa. And he came over and gave me a hug.
Right.
You know, like, the vibe of everybody helps me with what I go through. Maybe, if only for that time period.
Yeah.
That helps me. So, vibes are really, 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 like, that's why, like, people ask me if I like doing my show. Why would I not like doing my show?
Right. Because
It's my show.
It's therapy. Hell yeah.
Just like music. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've used music as therapy
Yeah.
for, you know, to be able to get through, you know, life. I mean, I have a lot of people that have sent me music to listen to. I actually got 2 tracks, I think, in my email right now that I've got to listen to.
Right.
I didn't know they were there. I forgot they were there. I forgot somebody had asked me for my email. But, you know, so and this goes back to the authenticity, being authentic. Because when I hear a song that I can relate to, then that song becomes like one of my favorite songs because I'm relating to that. I can't relate to what Mom calls lead baby music.
Right.
I can't relate to the popping pills and drinking lean and you know, I can't relate to that. The only thing I can relate to most of the time is the beat.
Right.
You know, I can deal I'll be like, the beat is hard as shit, but what the hell is he saying? I'm a storyteller. I write, so I like people telling me stories. Like we were listening to the soundtrack, like I was with the words, and I'm picturing stuff in my head.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, I'm not gonna say it's a lost art because I think there's a lot of artists who are still trying to do that. J. Cole was one of them.
Right.
J. Cole, when he dropped this little EP that he did, and I've seen people give mixed reviews on it. And I'll never go off based on anybody else.
Right.
I have to listen to myself. I loved it. Stories.
Yeah. Because, I mean, a lot of people was trying to say that he was talking about other people.
Yeah.
I honestly think it was introspective. He was talking about himself.
I think it had a lot to do with him. And I had made a stats about that. I was like, and I tagged J. Cole's page in it. And I was like, I wonder if J. Cole is really like what he's thinking about everybody trying to decipher
Right.
what he's talking
but
about.
then that causes a buzz, and that's also a plus.
You know, that's like, you know, like in the scene, like there's so much talent in this city. And right now, I'm trying to think, Damon Blue is making a buzz with his music. The boy, what's his name, Tate Cobain?
Mm-hmm.
He's another one.
I like the fact that Tate used that Bankrolls beat.
See, now me, I still got Tim Trees on my phone.
Right.
Bankrolls.
Right. I mean,
I told him he comes up in every damn conversation I have. Bodymore Big Steve, he used that beat too on his I Do This Shit in My Sleep.
Okay.
And in there he mentions Damon Blue, and he manages Tate Cobain, and he says in there that there's a lot of other talent in this city too.
Right.
You know what I mean? He named those two because they are making a buzz. There's Stars. Stars was on tour with my husband. That's my husband. He don't know it yet, but he's my husband. Tech 9. But he was on when he was on tour with him. I was like, I am so jealous. Like I want to be there. Like I'm not even only a groupie, but it's just a educational thing for me because I want to know. I guess I just want to see how everything goes because I want the local scene here to learn how to do their own shit too. Because
it'll happen.
It will.
And the whole thing is it comes with maturity and growth. I think if even like what you said about some of the people in here that have a lot of talent, if you notice, there's certain people in each, I want to say group or each clique or whatever that is cool or cooler with somebody from a different clique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that kind of comes from being from Baltimore. Like you'll be cool with who you're cool with, but you're skeptical of anything outside of that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to extend yourself too far because you don't want to be played.
Right.
And you don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to take the L. You just want to be cool with, like I say, like we would go to Atlantic City. This was before everybody else had casinos everywhere. We go to Atlantic City and we'd all show up and we'd all meet up at my homeboy's house and we'd all drive up there and it was maybe 15 of us, 4 cars deep. And the rule was, if I'm with you and he's with you, he's with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if something pops off and something jumps off, then together we're going to all fix it.
Right.
But if it's his fault, I need you to check him.
Right, because that's your man.
Yeah, that's your people's. And people don't check anybody anymore. That's what the problem is. Because now, when you check somebody, you're a hater. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a hater because I'm telling you what's right, or this is the way it should be. But it's a sense of community. People should be accountable for who they bring into your circle.
Right.
And if you bring somebody into the circle, and because me and you have this camaraderie and we're tight, by association, he's tight until he proves
that he's not
tight. And if he's with me and he's with you, he's with us. And that's how Baltimore is going to grow. Because together, if you notice, a lot of the bands you have different like you got Jahidi, and then you have Femi, who has the drummer Spider,
Mm-hmm.
who has, you know what I mean? Like, it's like different people who have different parts of their clique that you've seen
Right.
rock with other people, and it's like, these are all like Sendiva. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like certain Last Born Childs, it's like you have different names that are in themselves entities.
Right.
Great artists, great skill, great levels of greatness. And when you see them, the people that they associated with are also great. And that's how it has to be done. You have to uplift. And I was telling Anonymous this like maybe a month ago. The circle that we have makes us want to be that much greater.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have people that you're associated with that are good and great and awesome and amazing, and you don't want to be that weak. You know what I mean? You don't want to be that one that's like, oh, well, all these people are great, but look at that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be that way. So we all lift each other up, and as a community, 10 years gets my props for that, because the Crown Awards is definitely something that I feel like the recognition is given. Mm-hmm. But my beef was they don't go as far back as they need to. They go to when it started, but it started before that. Right. That's my whole point. Like, before it even came to this, there was a time when it was hip hop versus club music. Right. And there was no scene. It was, we were trying to make hip hop the music choice of Baltimore, and they were trying to make club music the choice of Baltimore. Right. And they won. And that's cool. Yeah. And I understand that, and I say props to it. I go other places, and they're like, oh, we're playing Baltimore Club. You go to D.C., and they play go-go, and I hate it. I don't like it. But when you see them there, and they're dancing to their music, the vibe is awesome. No matter how you feel about their music, or their style, or their cadence, or whatever, to see them girls dancing in a circle to that booka booka booka, it's amazing. And when they grind on you or whatever, you feel what they feel. Right. So it's not so much as not liking something because it's different, or not liking something because it's not yours. It's a matter of embracing the moment and enjoying what's going on, because everything is subject to location and also understanding. Different people perceive things differently based on their circumstances and their histories. So therefore, for Baltimore music to grow and expound and become the power source that it can be, the artists just need to realize that. Be yourself, be different, be true to yourself, and it'll come across. Whether you make music for 1 million people, or you do a room. We did a show. This is another Anonymous story. Anonymous and Khadijah, the literary muse, used to have a show in D.C. called The Spill. They had me on the drums, they had Q as the guitar, and then Banger would come out and play the keys, and his father would come out and play the guitar or whatever. And they used to do the shows right there on 19th Street or 18th Street. And they had Last Born Childs as a feature. And it was maybe 10 people in there. It was a bar, so you had people in there at the bar, and they had the stage, and it was time for his set to start. Mm-hmm. And it was 10 people in there. And he got on stage, and he did his show like it was 1,000 people in there, and people coming from outside to see what was going on. Right. And the energy is what drew them in. It wasn't the fact that he was like, oh, I'm not going to do the show because there's only 5 people in here, or there's 10 people in here. He didn't care if it was crowded or if it was empty. He got on stage, and when the mic came on, he gave the show. And the people outside felt the energy, and they came in to see exactly what was going on. And that's why I say Baltimore music is awesome, because we have some great artists. And eventually, the light will shine. You just don't rush it. Don't get upset about it. Don't feel like, oh, why is nobody noticing Baltimore? How come they're going to Philly, and they're going to Atlanta, and then they're down south, and Memphis is getting a shout out, and then Chicago is getting their music scene, and New York has always been popping, and LA has their sound, and it's not about that. It's not a competition. A race is never a competition. A race is a distance, not so much as how fast you can get to the point. Because if you go really fast, to the point, then when you get there, it's over.
Right.
But if you have a distance, then you're always making a splash
Right.
or whatever. So when you see the name Baltimore or you hear the name Baltimore, people know. I mean, they think it's The Wire and they think all the bad stuff, and that's okay because
Right.
good publicity is good publicity. Like
Right.
they know our name. The Ravens, the Orioles. They see that there's something here. They can't put their finger on it, and like my uncle was saying at one point, he said the year that we won the Super Bowl, Baltimore should have hit the media super hard.
Right.
Every local rapper should have went in the studio and did a song, a video, whatever, promoting their albums, promoting their stuff because the spotlight was
was
here.
on us.
It was on us. And a lot of people was like, oh, I got albums, I got songs, they're not good enough, I'm not going to drop them right now or whatever. And that moment passed because even that year, the next year, we didn't even get to play our first game in our stadium.
Right.
We had to play somewhere else. And when you win the Super Bowl, the first game is supposed to be in your home stadium. But the Orioles had a game, and we had a game. And but that wouldn't have happened if we would have attacked it with that ferocity, like that we could have done, and we should have done. But you can't say coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just know that Baltimore is shining, and at some point they gotta see it, and they will see it.
Yeah, and I believe it is too, because it seems like every week somebody is like, oh, when's Baltimore going to get on? And like I've been seeing this whole, like since the beginning of me coming in the scene, you know, I'm gonna put my city on the map, and I'm like, yeah, but we need unity. And I keep telling people, you're not gonna get everybody to unite to be backing people or whatever. It's not gonna happen because there's gonna be people who think that they're better than the next man.
Right.
Instead of like, I was having this conversation. Me and my ex had this conversation because he's an artist too, and we've had this conversation time and time again, and to the point to where I just don't want to talk to him anymore because he aggravates the shit out of me with it, you know. But I had this conversation with somebody else the other day, and they were like, you know, about getting behind the one artist, like.
But which one?
Right.
And for what reason? Because every rapper that you can name has a different, not so much. Let's say we all decide to get behind Femi, because Femi has charisma, and he has a great drummer and a great keyboard artist, and he also has a great bass player.
Stage presence.
And the stage presence is awesome. Then that means you're taking the shine away from Ronnie Moore, who's also.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't just say, let's get behind one person for one reason. I'm not dissing Ronnie Moore because I love Ronnie, I love Femi, every name that I've mentioned so far, I have nothing but love and respect for anybody I name. I don't have any animosity or hatred toward anybody. These people I'm naming are people I look at as people who are doing it. And because they're doing it, I'm saying that you can't just focus on putting the light on one person. There's not going to be one person that's going to save the whole scene. What's going to happen is, eventually, as a collective, there's a scene. Because at any given time, Monday through Friday, there's something that you can do. There's somewhere to go.
Right.
There's somewhere to be. But what I was telling Matt Pressbury, we had the fatherhood thing. He has Fatherhood is Forever, and I have Black Daddy Gang, and then there's Nigel who has Stop Fatherlessness, and then there's Daryl Mack said, did y'all ever think to do a collective thing, like where everybody comes together? Because then you have, on Father's Day, there's one Father's event at the Palladium, and there's another Father's event downtown at the Culture Center, and there's one at Beach Street, and there's another one on Sesame Street, and there's another one in that Power Plant, or whatever. If at some point we can all figure out a way to collectively push that same message together without anybody feeling any type of ego, without anybody feeling any type of, this is my event, because I'm not that type of person. I've always pushed myself or prided myself on being a team player. I'll take the back seat so the team shines. Right. Because I don't see, if we're not all shining, what's the purpose? Like, what am I going to shine for? Then that makes me a target. I don't want to be a target. I would rather we all shine so that together we all grow. So what possibly could happen is people who have a program or interest that is the same could somehow collectively say, this is what we're going to do as a community. Like, shout out to Sha, the community homeless drive that she did a couple weeks ago. It was no grandstanding. It was no people standing out there saying, this is what we're going to do, and we did this, and we did that, and this is why. It was, I'm going to, at the end of the year, collect coats, clothes, socks, underwear, and toiletries, and pass out food to the homeless. Anybody in the community who wants to be a part of it, please show up. Or please do this, and please do. And the turnout was so awesome. Everybody went down there. Nina Dow was in charge. She said, go over here. She told me, she said, you stand right here. And you make sure that anything that goes on this table is either given out or put to a use that could be helpful. And it worked out. I mean, it was just a thing of beauty to see as a collective, the community come together for a greater good. And it wasn't any situation where it was one artist who was doing a show, and when his set went off, his whole crew left.
I hate that.
And then there's the emptiness in the crowd, because there's always a set list, and there's always Billy Bob's going first, and Billy Bob's team is the loudest, and then there's Ricky Rock, who's here. I'm making up names. I don't know if there's a guy named Ricky Rock. I don't know you. I'm just saying different names. And Ricky Rock's going second, and then Billy Davis is going third. And Billy Davis's crew is like, when we're going on, when we're going to go on. And as soon as they go on, they leave. And then you got Sheila E., who's last. She's in there entertaining 5, 6 people because everybody else has left the scene. And then another thing is a lot of shows, there's no fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show, and it's everybody in that situation. Either they're performing, waiting to perform, or they're with the person that they came to see, and there's no audience. There's no...
Right.
You don't get any new fans. That's why I give shots out to Easy. Soul Cannon, before I met Easy, he probably doesn't even know this story, but if he's watching or listening, he'll probably see this at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Bangla who had told me about Easy. And he was like, there's a dude, Easy, and he's the front man for a group called Soul Cannon. So I went on Google, and I pulled up Soul Cannon, and I Googled and watched the videos, and I was like, oh. And then they did the round robin, where they had this show where they was doing different bands. And they had one band here, one band there, one band there, and they would just keep going around and around. One of the groups was Soul Cannon. And that's when I met Dan. And I was like, yo, these groups are dope. Like, seriously. And I mean, from that point, it was just, like I said, full-fledged, just make sure that your level of dopeness is maintained. Like, don't try to emulate or be anybody else, but at least, like I said, try to be a better you than you were yesterday.
Yeah. And it's because I was having a thought, and I don't know where it went to just then. I don't know where it went to. I have no idea. Because it was just so much. See, this is the kind of stuff that people need to listen to, and they need to hear it, and they need to learn from. Like like I had Shaka Pitts on here talking about things, and Shaka is another one that's not from here, but he reps Baltimore to the fullest.
Yeah, I mean,
and like I said, and like see, I'm telling you, I don't know what it'll come back to.
The vibe here, it's an awesome vibe. I mean, it's a slippery slope. I mean, at some point, it kind of makes you appreciate your differentness, but you also try to. I mean, like I said, being from Baltimore, you learn 3 things growing up: mind your business, stay to yourself, and keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. And if you're walking on one side of the street and you somehow sense that down the other side of the street that something's about to pop off, never be afraid to cross the street.
Right.
Walk on the other side or whatever. And if you see that something's about to pop off or whatever, you use your vision to know that this is going to happen, and you don't want any parts of it. And what a lot of the young cats are doing, they're playing follow the leader.
Yeah.
They see the Jada Kisses and the Styles P's different groups rocking like that, and they want to be that, and they want to emulate that, but you can't. As far as when you're making music, and this is back on the music tip. As far as when you're making music, your main focus should not be make money.
Right.
You shouldn't ever make your plan to be to get money. Your plan should be to do art. And if it's your art, and if it's sincere, and if it's great, at some point someone will notice it and someone will see it.
Right.
And they'll either appreciate it or critique it. But if hate it or love it, they have a feeling about it.
Right.
And you build off of that.
I just remember what I was thinking about. Because you were talking about shows.
Right.
And when I did my In the Spotlight show at 5 Seasons, it was on Saturday night. I got lucky, got a Saturday night, Simon gave me a Saturday night. And my rent for a Saturday night went down every month because I had people in there. Because the way I did it, I had 10 acts.
Right.
They sold 15 tickets each. They kept half of that.
Right.
I got $75. They kept the other $75.
Did you start that?
Huh?
Did you start that? Cause a lot of people are doing that now.
I mean, that's what I did. I don't know if that's what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
But I got tired of hearing artists, I need to be paid for shows. Why I got to sell tickets. Let me tell you why you got to sell tickets. Because if I put your name on a flyer, how many people are actually going to come out to see you?
Right.
If you sell tickets and they buy a ticket, they're more than likely going to come because they've spent money.
Right.
Tickets were $10. You keep $5. You have the ticket. I keep. So $75. $75. 10 artists. And I booked different people.
Right.
They didn't run in the same circles. So that meant if I book you and I've given you 15 tickets and 10 of your people come. And I book Joe Bob over here.
Right.
He sold his 15 tickets and his people come. Well, his people are going to hear you. Your people are going to hear him. Guess what? You may get a new fan out of that.
Right.
And that's what I did with my show. And I've got people now who want me to start my shows back up because of that simple fact.
You should.
And I'm trying.
I was gonna finish your story, and I was gonna give you another point.
Yeah, and that's what I did, and that's why my shows lasted for over a year. I stopped doing my shows because I got tired of the artists bitching and complaining because I make the set time,
right.
Who went where, and it was based on this is where it all came in. I knew this person here had a big following.
Right.
So if I put him third, fourth from the last,
right.
his people are more than likely going to stay to the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But people were complaining, oh, my people are not here. Because what I would do is, the first 5, I need you here. Because I wouldn't tell them what time their sets were.
Right.
Because they would show up
right
before they were supposed to go on. So the first 5 would be like, I need you here by 9:30 to check in. Tell your people to be here by 9:30. We're going to start the show. I was telling them we start the show at 9:45.
Right.
Of course, the shows never start on time. But still, I allotted that time.
Right.
So that way, you tell your people to be here by then, or else they might miss you. I'm not stopping the show. I'm not switching your place. I'm not doing none of that.
Right.
It just got too much for me. But that's why I would have crowds, because I would book this one over here, and I would book this one here, and this one here, and none of them knew each other. So you didn't have that cross fan thing going on. And I had one group that they booked. They were on 10 out of 12 shows, because every time I would have a cancellation, they'd be like, "We'll do it."
Right.
We'll do it. And now they're part of Wisdom Court with Billy Live.
Yeah. What's up, Billy?
And so that's why I was with them Thursday.
Superman, my home.
Yeah, I was just with them Thursday, and I'm geeking with them. But yeah. So Division, Code 17, they started out. I was the very first show that they ever did by themselves.
Right.
And I've opened up the doors for a lot of people to come into my shows, because that's what I was. I was a stepping stone.
This is what needs to happen. If the shows shouldn't be here in the summertime, when everybody is out of school, take a couple days off of work, go Virginia, because this is what local artists need to see. what we did as the firm, the way out, so whenever we do shows out of state, because they didn't know us.
Right.
And when you're out of state, they show you love. They'll let you sign.
Right.
They'll let you sign their T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
They'll let you put your autograph on their foreheads. It's amazing.
Right.
And they have no clue that back at home, they don't even care.
Right.
That you're just around the way homeboy. But when you're out of state, you get 3 experiences. You get 1, you get to draw an audience that would never have heard you before.
Right.
2, you get to travel as a crew. And then that other rule comes into effect. If I'm with you and you're with him and he's with you, he's with us. That comes into effect. And then also it goes into effect. You get to see other things besides Baltimore.
Right.
And that's why I said, I guess a lot of the stories that I had told previously in this interview all came to those 3 conclusions. When I was living as a youngster, around the way was a big dream, just to live around the way. But then you go outside your comfort zone, and then you learn that there's a bigger world out there.
Right.
There's way more than just sitting on the steps or being in the house by the time the streetlights come on. You learn that you have to actually go outside your comfort zone. That's why I give out props to Easy, who does tours. I give out props to Jahidi. I give out props to different people who stepped outside of their regular locale and have went into crowds or stadiums or places where they knew no one but the person that they came with or whatever. And when the mic came on, they gave the show of their life, because you get to rep Baltimore harder when you're not here.
See, and that's like I was saying about Baltimore Big Steve this year, he went to LA. He went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
He went to New Orleans. He went to down to Houston or Southwest.
Yeah.
He went down there, and we're going to New Orleans in February.
Right.
He wanted to know who wanted to go. I said I want to go because
Right.
I've never been, and I'm going to be doing my job, which is taking pictures and documenting everything while I'm having fun at Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So you know,
and that's important, because then you get to get a perspective of not only, because it's hard. It's like somebody keep telling you, well, your car isn't as fast as you think it is. When you see your car on the highway going next to another car that's going even faster, like you think that your car is fast, and you got your seatbelt on and you're driving, and you look over, somebody's, and you're like, oh snap! So you leave that area of what you're local, what you're used to, and you step into the unknown, and you have no clue what blessings or what possibilities come for that, because you don't know who's going to be in the audience. And then you also get a chance to travel and enjoy life, because life is fast. Life is quick, and if you don't get outside of your circle and outside of your comfort zone, you can never fly.
See, and I think for me, like, from the Eastern Shore.
Right.
When I graduated high school, I moved to Columbus, Ohio. Supposed to be going to college. I was 17 when I left, so, you know, that didn't work out so well. Came back, went to New Jersey, went up there for a weekend, came for the 4th of July weekend.